Watching the news in the last week, especially the new UN resolution orchestrated by Obama, it's really hard not to start wondering about end times when you consider the location of Israel, the history of the Jews returning to their ancestral homelands, making a nation state, and now the entire world basically ganging up against them as if they're the malignant cancer on the entire world. I think I saw where in the last year there have been 20 UN resolutions against Israel, one against North Korea, one against Syria, one against Iran. It's pretty apparent that we've gone through the looking glass, and the UN is now basically team evil. On the UN Human Rights Commission are all of the worst countries in the world: Saudi Arabia, terrorist states. They absolutely have no interest in what we consider human rights. And when you think about the confluence of events with the inauguration coming up, Netanyahu's house being raided, this UN resolution, you have to wonder if somebody's going to go rogue. Some F-16 pilot's going to plant a bomb, an iron bomb, or maybe a guided bomb right in the middle of the Dome of the Rock. It's the kind of days where you just wonder, what would be too outrageous? Almost nothing at this point. Every morning when I wake up, I turn on, first I see, the clock is still working, so I've still got the grid. I turn on the TV, and if they're still talking about what they were talking about yesterday, I say, great, we made it through another night. Because morning by morning, I won't be surprised to turn on the TV, just like we did in 2001 with 9/11. I won't be surprised if we turn on the TV and we see an aircraft carrier on fire in the Straits of Hormuz, or some other military calamity on that level. Is we have been walking right up to the line, tiptoeing up to the line. A month ago, an American ship sheep dipped, I think, for the Yemeni forces, whatever they are. One of those aluminum catamarans was hit from a land-based missile. Didn't quite sink it, but almost, virtually destroyed it. We're walking very close to where they're going to hit ships and our ships are going to hit back. And from there, it'd be a very easy walk to World War III. And with Obama doing this backstab on Israel last week, at this point, I wonder what other tricks does he have up his sleeve? Is he going to do something to literally set the house on fire before he leaves? Or does he just want to leave Trump in a checkmate situation in the corner, where he can hardly move without creating a greater disaster? But that's what happens when you elect a traitor mole as your president. A slick con man who's been having the doors opened in front of him from the time that he was an adolescent, with some kind of what I would consider a red net, sort of the old boys network of lefty progressive communists that have been greasing the skids for Obama since he was a child. Here he is. It's his swan song. 3 weeks to go. All of his legacy, his executive orders, they're going to be swept away. Is he going to just go away like that, set up another action committee? Or is he going to do something to really set the thing on fire before he goes? I have to wonder. And with the events in Israel, it almost feels like there's a bullseye being painted, somewhere on Jerusalem. I wouldn't be surprised if the next big explosion or terror events in Jerusalem, and I wouldn't be surprised if something really paradigm changing, like on the level of somebody blowing up the Dome of the Rock, to just kick this thing right into high gear. I don't know about you, but I'm glad I have a well in the backyard that has a hand pump on it. It doesn't require electricity. At least I know I'm going to be drinking water no matter what. That's something I would consider. I would strongly consider, if it's in your capability to do so, have a lot of water on hand. These aren't normal times. They say that the Jews in Germany, right through the 20s and 30s, they were like the frogs in the pot being boiled. They thought at every step there would be some outside force would stop the madness and save them. It would be Bismarck would get rid of this Hitler. Bismarck would stop him. Or the honorable generals of the Wehrmacht, they would step in and stop him. but it was just a slide where at each turn the water got hotter and the exit doors got nailed shut one at a time. And I feel like we're almost in a situation similar to that, where events, instead of a Hitler per se, but just world events just seem to be tumbling like dice that won't stop, just turning and turning and turning. And I just have the feeling that it's going to end on a real bad number. And I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I say all the time, I hope I'm, just a guy who's got some too far out theories and doesn't understand how inherently stable the world situation really is. And that there are very smart people out there that are way ahead of any trouble. But in my gut, I don't feel like that's true. And over and over again in history, the normalcy bias has done people in. They've thought things are great. Things could never change from here. But the world is full of abandoned cities that were once flourishing, and something changed and the cities collapsed. It's not usually a slow event when a city collapses. It's like the fall of Phnom Penh when the Khmer Rouge came in. They're emptied out. They just become a ghost town very quickly. You take the water and the electronic infrastructure out of a modern city, it can't exist. Where will those people go? So I encourage people to read my short stuff, my novels, of course, but my short stuff like Alas, Brave New Babylon. If you want to get an idea of, what goes on between my ears, maybe you don't want to. It's might be a pretty scary place. But a lot of people have read these things. I should be on my 6th or 7th novel by now, but the last few years under Obama, I felt like it was more important to put out free short work than to focus on my next novel. I do have another novel that's almost finished. It's about 90% finished. Should be done in a month or so. But that's for another show. We'll talk about that. But yeah, these are definitely interesting times. I feel like we're living in history, like we're sitting on the, in the front row of the theater, and we're about to watch, Abe get shot up there, and here comes somebody swinging down onto the stage. I mean, we have front row seats. As long as the electricity holds out, we'll at least see. It might be fake news. It might be doctored somewhat, but we're going to know when it's really happening. And I think it's going to be like something that's never been seen before in history, because all of the other societal and civilizational collapses that happened, they didn't happen in societies that were dependent on electricity to keep the food fresh. These were all societies where food was larded and stored in cisterns and grain warehouses. So when war swept through, that just meant you lost a planting cycle. The food was grown in the next county over, maybe 2 counties away. But in our case, the food is now grown 1,000 miles away. I often, ask the rhetorical question, how much food do they grow in your zip code? And honestly, how much food do they grow in your telephone area code? Because if the infrastructure, if the grid collapses, the only food you're going to get, maybe for years, is food that is grown within a horse's ability to carry a wagon. I'm serious. All of our magic tricks, all of our technological magic tricks, they require all of the other tricks to be working in perfect synchronization. It's like a Swiss watch. If you take the most expensive $6,000 self-winding, Rolex Oyster Submariner Pro, and you stab a ice pick right through it, you've only damaged a few pieces, but the whole watch comes completely to a stop. And that's sort of an analogy for our modern civilizational infrastructure. If the banking system fails, if the EBT system is hacked, if our electrical grid is hacked or corrupted, it's going to be very hard to self-repair before our societies, our cities just explode, burn, and self-immolate. I mean, we've already seen the lack of social cohesion in good times. What will happen when I see these, people rioting over TVs on Christmas Eve, fighting each other, going to fights, looking forward to going to fights, using social media to get to fights? I think, how will these people act when they're in the dark hungry, and nothing is coming out of the water tap. What are they going to be capable of doing if they already are acting violently just for fun with the entire system working? So I'm very I'm very concerned about the future, obviously, as you can see. But what can you do? You can prepare. You can have water purification systems, survivor food. Try to learn how to grow. Move away from the cities if you can. If at all possible, don't live in a high-rise building. Those are the worst death traps of all. Imagine your building with no electricity. If you would have to haul water up flights of stairs, forget it. It's not survivable. It's not sustainable. So I just encourage people to, possibly even think about what would happen if, if your oil or your electric heat went out, your furnace is cold. Do you live in a place where everything just will freeze like the old trapper in Jeremiah Johnson? It doesn't matter if you're inside of a building. In Sarajevo during the winter, and Sarajevo is probably no colder than, say, Ohio. In Sarajevo, they were first burning their furniture right inside of the apartments, then tearing apart their door frames and tearing apart anything they could to burn. They cut down all the trees in the city to burn. And that was just in, an average city comparable to some city in Ohio or Indiana.
Now, what I'm announcing here today is already a custom here in the United States, and that is extending the Christmas holiday up until New Year's Eve, and then taking down the Christmas trees and taking down the Christmas lights. Ooh, I keep saying Christmas. I'm so politically incorrect. The day after New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And so I've decided right through New Year's Day, we're going to keep the virtual Christmas tree, or an HD video shot of downtown Austin at the Capitol of the beautiful Christmas tree up, just to upset the social justice warriors and all the little snowflakes that want to bully us into banning our culture and banning free speech. In fact, there's a war going on, not just online, but in the streets. I've seen it, where people on the hike and bike trail say Merry Christmas, and then folks don't respond and they say Happy Holidays. Or even family I have that I send the message of Merry Christmas to, they respond back with Happy Holidays. It is some distant cousins, but it's going on. But we're also going to extend the Christmas sale right through until New Year's Eve, until everything sells out at InfoWarsStore.com. Now, we normally try to budget things to where in the warehouse, most of the products sell out by year end, and the new products come in a few weeks or a month after, because we have to pay taxes on inventory. And this year, I've decided to extend the sale until everything completely sells out. So to be clear, almost every one of our best-selling nutraceutical supplements is selling out, and for a good reason, because here are the specials that we're running until they sell out or until the new year comes here in just about 4 or 5 days. Living Defense, 30% off. Super Male Vitality, 30% off. These are huge specials. Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver, 50% off. Brain Force Plus, 33% off. Winter Sun Vitamin D, 25% off. And again, a lot of these are selling out as we speak or have sold out. Survival Shield X2, 30% off. BioTrue Selenium, 30% off. And then let me finish up with this, the coup de grace. Store-wide free shipping until New Year's Day, store-wide at InfoWarsStore.com on the non-GMO heirloom seeds and the Trump is my president shirts and Hillary for Prison 2017 shirts and Deport George Soros, the Goblin Globalist specials. Store-wide free shipping, 50 to 30% off on scores of items, and all of these are super high-quality products. They help fund the spearhead in the fight against the globalist, and they are game changers. We couldn't have built this operation without you. So you're not standing beside us or behind us. You are standing at the heart of the rebellion against globalism. We are American restorationists trying to restore our republic and make it great again and free again and safe again and prosperous again. And we're doing it the old-fashioned way with free markets and with amazing high-quality products. So I certainly hope and pray you had a blessed and Merry Christmas, And I'm really focusing and working hard to make sure we have a great new year as Americanism, not globalism, accelerates into the future. So again, I want to encourage you all, take advantage of the biggest sales of 2016 with Christmas sales extended with free shipping store-wide and 50 to 30% off on high-quality supplements and many other items at InfoWarsStore.com and InfoWarsLife.com. I'm Alex Jones, signing off from the Central Texas News Center in Austin.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today for 30 to 50% off specials while supplies last, plus free shipping. Or call 1-888-253-3139.